Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And so yeah, I bring you this episode with some news with regards to the engine that went down to Thurston Engineering for Baz and the team to have a look at. Although Baz is looking at this one himself. But yeah, he's come back and with a couple of bits of news really. He's done all the inspections and measurements on the engine, and unfortunately the liners aren't so good, and they're going to need replacing. Hasn't come as a shock to me really, because it was a long shot that they would be okay anyway, but you know, it makes no odds. I'll get some new ones. I'm going to get some new ones fitted. The option really was to hone the existing ones, or just buy new. So I thought, right, if we're going to do it right, fit some new ones. Although they're not going to be Mi16 spec ones, because to be quite honest, I don't really think I'm going to need them for this, with it being a road car, fast road car. I'll be driven fairly spirited on occasions, on the rough occasion, hard occasion. So I've given the green light to fit a set of new liners on, and the second bit was in relation to the crankshaft. Obviously, you might recall in the episode where I removed the crank out from the engine, there was some really light scoring on some of the journals, or most of the journals, and I didn't really particularly like the look of those. So basically, I've elected, the option was for a full crank regrind, which obviously is quite expensive. So I've elected to polish the crank, at the sacrifice of a slight drop in obviously in oil pressure. But to be completely honest, again, it's not a race engine. It's not a race engine. It's not going to be, thrashed around on weekends on tracks and stuff like that. So it's really not going to be at the end, the very end of its limitations. So I've just decided we'll get the crank polished. Sometimes you've got to weigh these things up, and to my mind, I want to get the car back on the road as quickly as I can. Well, not quickly as I can, but do it properly. And I don't think obviously I've got a limited budget, because I wasn't expecting this. I was building the budget slowly in the background, because I was going to actually have the engine rebuilt at some point. I wasn't for a couple of years, but obviously what's happened has happened. So yeah, we're going to get the crank polished, and I've also asked Baz with regards to the head gasket. Obviously there's a Cometic one on the engine. I've asked, do I really need to buy another one and fit another Cometic gasket? Again, it's not going to be thrashed on weekends on track days. So I've asked the question. I've not had anything back from Baz as of yet, but I've got no rush. I'm certainly not bothered about getting it finished before Christmas. Definitely not. I mean, I've now set a goal, a target of getting the engine back, get the engine rebuilt, get it back here, and get it back in the car, and get the car back and MOT'd by the end of March is the goal. So I'm putting no pressure on myself or anyone else, Baz and the team included, down in Essex, to get anything finished in a hurry, because of course we got Christmas coming up, and unfortunately the boiler, the pressure vessel in the boiler in the house has decided to go fucking Q, and is now losing pressure. So just to add to the year really, that I'm going to need a new boiler. Fucking deep joy, you know, shit happens, but it never rains, but it pisses it down, doesn't it? Seemingly it does in my world this year, but there you go, you know, these things happen. And it's 20 odd years old, so it's had a good innings, and we've been here, you know, for best part of 20 years now. So it's we've certainly had the value for money with regards to the boiler. But going back to the car, it's actually nice sitting in it. I haven't sat in it for such a long time. It's just a really nice place to be. But so yeah, that's the update with in terms of the engine. There's another update that the chap who does cam covers and other bits and bobs, he's been in touch, and basically I'm going to hopefully take the cam cover to him tomorrow, and then that should be done in a week or so. So I can reveal that hopefully in next Sunday's episode. But yeah, it's just getting back into it. I've been spending a good while out and about in the camper, in the van, and it's just nice to be out and about and just relaxing and just making the most of life, because as I've discovered this year, things happen all of a sudden, and tomorrow isn't guaranteed. There's never a given. So yeah, I'm definitely relaxing a lot more and spending a lot more quality time with the missus and the family. And we're hitting the road quite often. We don't go particularly far. We go normally around about an hour down the road, which is quite a lot of scope of different sites around this part of the world, as you might expect, being North Wales. But it's good just be out and about and take time out, and it gives me time to clear my thoughts and kind of set goals with this thing, because I've missed it terribly this year, and if it hadn't have broken down and it'd been all hunky-dory, then I could have gone on a substantial number of drives, caught up with people, and kind of taken my mind off the stuff that's been going on this year with my health. So yeah, I could have done with it to kind of cheer me up on plenty of occasions, but yeah, so that's the update. Nothing else really to do or tell you. So we'll catch up next week, and there'll be further updates with regards to the engine rebuild, I'm sure. And yeah, so as usual, thanks for persevering, for sticking by me. I know it's quiet and there's not a great deal going on, but bear with me, and we'll keep it going. I'll keep it going as best as I can. And when the engine obviously comes back, then it'll be time to roll up the sleeves and get cracking and get it back in the car. And yeah, and I just can't wait to turn the key, get it started, get it running, and just start enjoying it again. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I've got a few gaskets and O-rings and seals and stuff like that to buy. So I'm going to crack on and go ahead and buy those things and sort them out. I also need to buy Jubilee clips for the pipes, because a lot of the ones I used, I had no choice but to use some cheaper ones from the hardware shop down around the corner. So there's plenty of stuff to come up in waves, really. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for following me. If you know anybody you think you'd like to follow the story, the progress of the rebuild, please feel free to share the video, the channel even, and I'll catch you next week. So as per usual, stay safe everybody, look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week.